Over the years of GTA Online's very long life, it has gone through various stages of weaponized vehicles, from simplistic vehicles with some explosive resistance to full-on jets that can go off the radar indefinitely. It has certainly changed the game, but not in a good way in my opinion. I'll elaborate more, but first please subscribe if you enjoy yourself here. Only 10% of you guys are subscribed, so sub to become a follower today. That's funny, laugh right now. Thank you to my channel members, and let's dive in. The first problem with weaponized vehicles is that naturally power creep will be a problem in the long run. To make the newer weaponized vehicles better, the old ones have to get worse. That's just how it is. While this is also true for cars in the game, the effect is not as substantial as it is when you do the same thing to weaponized cars. I remember when the weaponized Tampa first came out, and it was a decent car to use in free mode. And matter of fact, many did use it in free mode because it had a good gun mounted on top with some bullet resistance as well. It had weak explosive resistance, but at the time there weren't a lot of vehicles on land or in the air with missiles, and landing a rocket on a moving car on foot is quite a hard task. The modern GTA Online equivalent of the weaponized Tampa today would probably be the Vigilante. It has more explosive resistance and solid missiles that track targets well. It is more expensive, but you are also getting a better vehicle in every way. Rockstar didn't even bother to add bullet resistance, which shows the state of weaponized vehicles in GTA Online as a whole. Every new weaponized vehicle has missiles that track vehicles well. Back in the day, a weaponized vehicle had machine guns and bulletproof windows to protect itself from other vehicles that also only had machine guns and bulletproof windows. But because Rockstar has added so many vehicles with missiles and armor and all that, to make a new weaponized vehicle competitive, they have to keep making them more resistant to missiles, and they themselves need to have missiles to take out other weaponized vehicles. There's no longer a fundamentally better way to make new weaponized cars and jets better than to give them more missiles and more armor. Rockstar used to be a lot more creative when it came to stuff like this though. In Import-Export, they added a lot of cool weaponized vehicles that all had trade-offs but also had their own use case scenarios, like the Ruiner 2000 for example. Rockstar gave the Ruiner 2000 a unique angle because it could jump and has a parachute to glide long distances. It did also have missiles, but the trade-off was that it had no explosive resistance, which was fine back then because not many vehicles actually had missiles equipped at the time. The Rocket Voltic was also quite fast thanks to its jet mounted on the back, but it had no explosive resistance and no missiles, but people still used it because it was probably the fastest way to get around the map in a car. Rockstar just set these vehicles up for failure over time because they simply made more vehicles with missiles, which simply outclassed the older vehicles that had more character and cool features. Rockstar also quite frankly dropped the ball with aircraft in GTA Online. I've said this before and I've said it again, and we can trace it back to a single day in GTA Online's life, the day when Smuggler's Run came out in GTA Online on August 29th of 2017. Now you may be asking, well Falls, why do you say that? Well, it's pretty simple. It made it insanely easy to access aircraft regardless of where you were on the map. If you want a jet in a matter of 30 seconds delivered nearby you, this update brought that. In the early days of GTA Online, jets were still the undisputed kings of free mode lobbies, even back when the Rhino tank was relatively good. That was probably the best land vehicle, but as for the skies, the laser from Fort Zancudo was the best. I specified from Fort Zancudo because that was the only place to get weaponized jets from. You could find annihilators and buzzards at some helipads on the map, but the laser was exclusive to the military base, which meant that if you wanted a laser, you had to get to Fort Zancudo first, at which point it would be obvious you were getting a jet because that's the only reason someone would go there. I remember the trick back in the day was to go off the radar before you got in the laser, so whoever you wanted to kill would be unaware you were in a jet, and then by the time off the radar was wearing off and going away, it didn't matter because you were already close enough to the person for them to have no time to react. If they knew you were at the military base, they could counter you and just go there themselves. After Smuggler's Run, it made it much harder to predict if someone was going to go get a jet. Because the aircraft spawns are so close to players now, if someone is off the radar or ghost org or whatever, and you suspect they're going after a jet, you have to guess if it'll be either the beach or the LS River, which are the two most popular spawns for them. But even then, there are some spawns that aren't those areas also. My point is, jets used to be something special in a lobby. They were rather rare because it took a good amount of effort to acquire them. You couldn't just get them in 2 minutes easily. Not to mention, if you went down in a jet back in the day, you had to go back to Fort Zancudo to get another one. You couldn't just call Moore's Mutual Insurance and get your jet back. I remember people would camp Fort Zancudo in a laser because if you camped it, you could pretty much guarantee that no one else could get a jet, especially in the days before the homing launcher came out, and even those are rather easy to dodge in a jet. It's no longer an event or something unique to have a jet take over a lobby. Matter of fact, every time you load into a lobby, you'll see a few jets on the map. All of this is not to mention how little Rockstar allows the skill gap to be when flying different aircraft. There are many weaponized jets and not all of them are bad. Most of them are actually pretty good if you know how to use them, but that is precisely the problem. Most people don't know how to use them because why would they when it's so easy to pick up a Raiju and go off the radar forever with all the benefits of a laser, Hydra, etc. Rockstar basically allows anyone to kill whoever they want in the Raiju and make it as easy as possible for them, in exchange for having a high price on the website. The problem is that once you save up all the money, that's it. There is no upkeep or extra charge for having it destroyed really. I mean, there is insurance costs, but those are laughable. It's sad how they allow anyone with the skill of a potato to absolutely dominate you just because they bought a less skillful jet that is more expensive. Rockstar just quite frankly doesn't know how to balance weaponized vehicles and aircraft in GTA Online, which leads me to my next point. Some may say it's nostalgia speaking, but I think I speak for everyone when I say that a ton of weaponized vehicles and military weaponry in general doesn't fit the ethos of GTA Online. That's the stuff you save for story mode since it's more about the spectacle, the thrill, whatever. In an online mode with other players, things need to be balanced across the board, and it's hard to make a jet and a helicopter equally balanced because they naturally serve different purposes. But when a helicopter costs as much as a jet that is 5 times better, why would you buy the helicopter and not the jet? Things used to be much simpler back in GTA Online, like I've talked about. Things were balanced because strong vehicles were very hard to get. But over time, things quite frankly got more and more extreme to the point where GTA Online can be seen as a military simulator game that was initially meant to be an open world crime game. When I think of GTA Online, and what many casual players and people in general think of GTA Online, is robbing stores, stealing cars, killing innocent civilians. I mean, you know, we've all done it, going to the shoe store, etc. They absolutely do not think of flying jets and military helicopters and jetpacks. While all that stuff is fun and all, it's not great to add in an online mode where, in my opinion, balance should take slight priority over craziness. Unfortunately, people will always use what is best and not necessarily what is more fun or enjoyable, like driving cars in the game instead of using an oppressor, and Rockstar knows that as well. It's the reason why they raised the prices of popular weaponized vehicles a while back, why the Oppressor Mark II was $8 million without the trade price. The Raiju is extremely expensive as well. Rockstar knows that people will pay for what is most powerful, and that likely means more shark card sales as well. I remember I used to always use the Mark II when it came out because it was the quickest way across the map, but it wasn't fun to use. It became mundane to use, just something you use to grind missions. Driving cars whenever I do missions allows me to see the map change as time goes on. Different buildings may get updated or new properties may be added, which would take you longer to realize if you just rode a Mark II everywhere. It's essentially the same reason why the fastest cars aren't necessarily the most fun to use in racing games like Forza. You want to explore the map to see all the little details, try to spot things that you never noticed before. Getting somewhere with the most efficiency doesn't make it the most fun, and I think that is precisely the moral of the story. I really hope GTA 6 doesn't take a route of insane militarization, because once again, that is not what a GTA game is to most people, and with GTA 6 being by far the biggest entry into the series, even though it hasn't even released yet, I think Rockstar will take a back to basics approach to it. It's a fresh start and a way for them to reinvent themselves after letting GTA Online become a wasteland of jets and flying machines everywhere. Especially since GTA 6 will have a lot of publicity at launch, and for the first couple of years, no doubt. There will be lots of people with lots of opinions about the game, and Rockstar knows they can't mess it up. They could afford to somewhat experiment with GTA Online right now because not much people play it anymore. If an update has poor reception, not much people will find out because the game doesn't get a lot of coverage on media platforms. But the same can absolutely not be said for GTA 6, and I guess we will have to wait and see how everything will play out. Thank you for watching, I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to become a follower, and thank you to my channel members, which for the month of October are as follows. Thank you to Anawack, KOIAER, Karso, Agaro, PAARTHUR, Radioactive 661, Jetari, and GooBirdz. I greatly appreciate you guys. I appreciate you all. Please have a great day, stay safe, have a good day or night or evening, wherever you are in the world, and goodbye. Hey, hey, look, hey, look, hey, look. You better subscribe, because if you do not, I might cry. You better subscribe, I ran up the bands in GTA 5. You better subscribe, because if you do not, you might cry. You better subscribe, because if you don't, I might die. You better subscribe, I'm about to go crazy on the beat. You better subscribe, hey, wait for the beat to drop, ooh, you better subscribe, hey, you better subscribe, I'm out of breath. You better subscribe,